The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Happy Thursday. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison, and I've got Aisha Morrison in the studio. I've got Christy Scales in the studio, and I've got Jazz Monet in the studio. How y'all doing today?
I like the way you said it today.
Solid.
Monet.
Thanks.
Just Monet.
Something like that, you know.
I feel like we should have had a meeting by now to iron this out.
At this point, I'm giving up. I'm just going to try something a little different, you know? Bring a little something different to the studio. Anyways, are y'all excited for this matchup on Sunday?
Of course. It's almost
Are y'all
Sunday.
sure?
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Any
either going to go
nerves?
really good or really bad.
I'm excited now. I don't know if I should be excited, but I am now.
I like what Micah said today. He said that with Baker Mayfield, he brings the real X factor because you don't know if you're going to get the Baker that hangs 30 points on you in the first half or one that might, turn the ball over or be out there. But, they have been really prolific on offense recently. The Bucs defense is playing better, and I think that Tampa is a team that kind of slides under the radar. The fact that they're going for their fourth straight division championship, I don't think is truly appreciated around the league.
Wow.
I didn't hear that, Micah.
crazy.
That is such a polite way of calling someone inconsistent. Props to him.
Absolutely. I know we're going to talk about it. He was so talking today.
I missed locker room today.
He talked a long time today.
I
Dang.
said, brother, I kept seeing quote after quote after quote. I said, oh.
They got a lot of words for him.
I think he did about 18 minutes with
18
the media
minutes?
today.
I believe it. He likes to talk.
Yeah.
And
Especially
he was sitting at his locker. He wasn't
Oh,
in front
okay.
of
That
the
makes
field.
that makes more sense.
And
So
also
he's
towards
just-
the end, talking about Penn State is hosting SMU, which is a Dallas school. And so in the CFP playoffs, and so towards the end, they started talking about that, and they started talking about college football. So I think we got another 5 or 6 minutes just out of that line of questioning.
Well, you got a lot to talk about, especially when you talk about this matchup, and we're going to get to that in just a few. But we got to roll through the practice report really fast. All right. Guys who were limited today. TJ Bass, who did not participate yesterday, was limited today, so that's a good sign. Jalen Brooks was limited today. Chuma Edoga, who did not participate in Wednesday's practice, was limited today. So, obviously, a little upgrade there. That's good. Jordan Lewis, limited today as well. He was also limited in Wednesday's practice. Mozzie Smith did not participate on Wednesday. He was limited today. Another guy who was limited was Wanye Thomas, who Mike McCarthy actually said he was going to be working with the rehab group today in practice. But Mozzie Smith, we'll start with Justin Rogers. The Cowboys signed him today. 7th round pick in the 2024 draft. He went on to the Bengals practice squad. They picked him up again today. So, are y'all worried at all about Mozzie Smith's back? Possibly. Do you think that we could see Justin Rogers on Sunday?
I'm worried about Mozzie Smith's back in the sense that it's been a very, you've seen this issue come up a few times on the injury report. And so it does kind of make you wonder, is it going to become something that limits him in terms of playtime? But so far it hasn't. So maybe it's enough to keep him, on the injury report, but not enough to keep him out of the game. I don't think he's done anything game-wise that people have been like, oh, it must be that back thing. So I'm worried about him as a person because, you hate to see someone have repeated back issues like that. But, no cause for concern yet in terms of what he does on the field.
Yeah, I think that bringing Justin Rogers back, it's a guy that they didn't want to lose to the Bengals practice squad, but it was a good move by Cincinnati to bring him in. I think it's a good move for the Cowboys to bring him back from depth purpose to get us through the end of the season in case Mozzie can't go or is going to be limited even the final couple of games. But this is a big space-eating guy. This is 338 pounds at defensive tackle. So what have we said in the past on this podcast? That the job of defensive tackle, you are a human speed bump. You already slow everybody down, right? And then slow him down so that the linebackers can come in and make the plays. And so this guy is almost as big as Vita Vea, who we're going to see for Tampa on Sunday. And so I like it. I'm glad that they got him back in the building. I mean, they did like him enough, at least last April, to invest a draft pick in him.
Yeah, to answer your question, about, are we worried about Mozzie Smith?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like tightness that he's constantly dealing with. So, it's concerning, but as long it's not it doesn't sound like it's structural, and I care about that side of things, especially with anything back with somebody that's taking on impact the way that a defensive tackle does. It is something to keep our eye on. But as far as them bringing back Justin Rogers, I'm happy because, with respect, watching the preseason, if you go through and watch preseason, that might have been your best defensive tackle through the preseason and the way that he played. He also showed some flashes, like you mentioned him being a space eater. He showed some signs of pass rush ability in the preseason. And I think the Cowboys kind of were like, okay, well, maybe they were evaluating him even during that time. Christy mentioned that they didn't want to lose him. I think, to her point, being able to get him back as for depth purposes is a thing. And if you can get to see him during this time, maybe it gives you a little bit more information again going into draft season when you do need to because we need to build more. You need more DTs at this point. So can't have enough. I'm excited about it, for real.
That's what I was going to go with as far as depth. You clearly need more pieces at defensive tackle. But with Mozzie Smith, when he has battled the back injury this whole season, he still played well, which is kind of insane. That's something I wanted to talk to him about in locker room. I didn't get a chance to since I was taping, but I wanted to ask him, how are you taking care of your body? Because that obviously goes into and plays a huge role into it. But in terms of now switching gears a little bit, Tampa Bay's defense. What stands out about Todd Bowles' defense and his defensive philosophy?
I would say
Anybody?
Yeah.
I would say his creativity.
Yeah.
So there are some people who will attribute what he's able to do to the presence of Vita Vea. And, acknowledging Vita Vea is literally built different, right?
Yeah.
We know this. Very large human being. And so I do think that does allow Bowles to do some things that other coaches might not be willing to do if they don't have someone like that. But even if you take that out of the equation, you look at what Tampa Bay has dealt with in terms of injury, and you look at the different ways, the different types of lineups that Bowles has put out there in order to account for those injuries. You can kind of tell that he's trying to go for certain looks where maybe they don't have enough safeties healthy. That's been a big issue for them. And so he has been creative with his use of linebackers. In terms of how they actually execute. Four-man rush almost 60% of the time. Now, that is one of the things that I do think we can attribute to Vea's presence, because Vea demands so much attention that you can send a four-man rush and it still impacts the opposing offensive line different than how another defense might. But between that, dropping a line of scrimmage defender into coverage almost 40% of the time. The way they do I forget what they call them now, creepers or simulated pressures, where they'll have someone who's closer to the line of scrimmage drop back, and they'll have a linebacker actually rush from a distance to kind of catch the offensive line off guard. He's been very creative in how he's, especially having this defensive front operate. And so I got to give him props for that, even though, yes, you have Vea as a weapon. But, yeah, in terms of what Todd Bowles is bringing to the table, I do have to give him credit for how creative he's been.
Yeah, and it's going to really stress this Cowboys offensive line that has had a lot of moving pieces and young guys in the interior of the line. So identification, and, of course, Cooper Rush at quarterback is going to help with that as well. But identifying it's going to be hard in the backfield, too, for the Rico Dowdles of the world to, make sure that you're seeing when they do bring an extra guy. There were times in the game against the Chargers that they beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers last weekend, where they had 7 people on the line of scrimmage. So it's some exotic looks, and they're going to challenge you mentally. And I think, Jazz, when you talk about some of the things they do with the zone, where they're taking defensive tackles, not Vita Vea, but Kalijah taking him and dropping him. So a zone blitz is when, let's say you send a linebacker But if you send a linebacker, then that opens a space in the defense, and the offense can dump the ball where that linebacker was. So to trick things up, you send a linebacker, but then you drop a lineman back into that spot. So it's a tricky thing to do, and it's hard to have guys with that skill to be able to drop back like that. So it shows that Bowles has a lot of faith in those guys to be able to put them in those types of situations and trick it up.
You talked about the ability to drop back. Kalijah Cansey, one of the draft traits that he had was just the feet, the athleticism to be that size. You asked about the defense. I see a lot of similarities with the Cowboys defense and how Zimmer likes to do things. Obviously he still doesn't have as much at his disposal as I would think, Todd Bowles does, but changing the picture, you talk about the blitzes. Todd Bowles will blitz safeties, he'll blitz corners, he'll blitz linebackers, he'll do it all. And that's similar to kind of how Mike Zimmer has been trying to manufacture pressure. I will say they do a better job of getting pressure with 4, as you mentioned, Jazz. And then, Christy, I thought it was a good point that you made about the stunts and the twists and the things like that. It is going to be very hard on this interior offensive line. I'm glad that we kind of have possibly an idea of who's going to be starting there this week so they could prepare for that. But I do think that maybe some of the similarities in Zimmer's defense and Todd Bowles' defense might help prepare this offense a little bit more. But yeah, to y'all's point, very unpredictable. And Cooper Rush is going to have to be on his P's and Q's as well. You talked about the soft coverage. You talk about them. They will load the box. Todd Bowles is very prideful. He does not want you to be able to just run the ball on them. However, it does put a lot of stress on their secondary, and that is why I think they play so much soft zone and things like that, because they're bringing too much heat in the front. So their defensive line, the guys they have on there, can get to the quarterback on their own. And just the fact that they decide to just go ahead and blitz for what? Y'all so selfish. I was just sitting there looking at it. I was looking at them last week. I said, nah, y'all doing too much. Y'all know y'all can get pressure with 4. But that just lets you know, it's an identity thing with them, is that they want to intimidate the opposing team's offensive line and quarterback, and they'll do that to you in this game. It's a fun defense.
And that's where it's going to come down to Cooper Beebe being in his communication with, obviously, Cooper Rush. Who else do you feel like on the offensive line this defensive front will obviously bring a bigger test to?
Is Chuma going to be a right guard again?
I don't know about well, Guyton, I think, has been taking the practice snaps at left tackle because Chuma's been rehab group. And so this is going to be a huge test, not just for Cooper Beebe, but for your guards. And we keep saying Vita Vea. They list him at 348 pounds, the nose tackle. And I think they're missing one leg of that because, there's a very large human being. And you can't miss him. He wears number 50, but it's not 5'0", it's 5'0", like this, very wide. I think the greatest thing of physics is to see the stretch of that uniform, that jersey going wide like that. But also very athletic, nimble, great on his feet, and a lot of pressure. 6 sacks from him. And Cansey has 6. The 2 defensive linemen from interior there was 6, so that's a lot. But the communication is going to be key. But I'd like to go to something Aisha said about Todd Bowles and that commitment to stop the run, and that's absolutely true. But more than just about any game this year, staying steadfast with the run for the Cowboys offense, I think, is very important. You're going to have to stay steady with it and keep trying it, because even if you don't have success early with it, if you give up on the run, then oh my gosh, then the hounds are loose by Todd Bowles. So you're going to have to stay patient and I think committed to the run.
Yeah, another gentleman, and we got to see that a tad bit last week. Hopefully they saw some success with that. They had 4 trips to the red zone. 3 times they went down there and actually scored. Maybe they stick to it a little bit more, like you said, Christy. But another gentleman in another matchup to keep your eye on is Yaya Diaby. We called him the baby during the draft. But edge out of Louisville. This guy leads the team in pressures, 45 on the year. Not as many sacks, but he's a disruptor, y'all. the way that he pops out of his stance, the violence in his hands. He plays the run well as well. Him and Terrence Steele's going to have his hands full. And we have seen Terrence Steele improve as the season is going on. I do think that he's playing better. I would say he's playing more confident. They're doing things that he's good at, especially getting the run game involved, letting him wear some of these defensive ends down. So towards the end of the game, he not getting his tail whooped. Like, it's important. So with that, I think that's a matchup to keep an eye on as well. And then Logan Hall, who's their other DT. I mean, they got some. Yeah. They have, and that's the thing, that it comes in waves, because they can substitute different fronts, different looks, and stuff like that, like you said, Christy. So, this offensive line going to have to go to work.
And it's what the Cowboys did last year with the defensive line.
Yes.
You know, when you had that rotation, when you were able to bring in the Dorrance Armstrongs and the Dante Fowlers. And so what the Cowboys were able to do with that pass rush last year, because of the depth, that's what Tampa's able to do with their front. But Jazz had the great point about all of the injuries to the secondary for Tampa's defense and safety in particular. I think that's their question mark coming in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part of the reason why, like, when you look at their defense, one, their defensive front is dominant. Two, when you start looking at where they're likely to make a mistake or get penalties, it's definitely their secondary. And I don't think it's just that they're bad. I think it's because they've been so inconsistent. But I wanted to go back to your question, because I was
on the Cowboys offensive line.
O-line specifically.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to, because I was about to say something about Cooper Rush, but I'm gonna save it for when we talk about Cooper Rush.
Yeah, go ahead.
But on the O-line, I'm gonna agree with Chrissy on the guards for two reasons. One, they do move Vita Vea around. A lot of people have been talking about, well, if Cooper Beebe's back, he's going to have to deal with that. First of all, whoever is next to Cooper Beebe is going to have to help him with Vea. Like, I have yet to see too many good examples of people going one-on-one with Vea and having a good amount of success. But they've moved him out as far as, like, 3-tech. And, I mean, the one thing about it is he still almost always goes inside. It's not like he goes a different direction.
That's definitely his comfort place.
Yeah, it's like he might be out there, but he's still going to go towards the quarterback, so you know where he's going. But it's still just like, who's going to have to take him on is a question. So it's like everybody on the O-line really needs to be ready. But I would definitely say the guards, just because they're going to have to really be on their P's and Q's in terms of paying attention to where he is and paying attention to what their assignment is from when he moves and when the other people move. Because like what you said about Yaya and Logan Hall, they've been very impactful. Even with the Bucs sending 4 most of the time and not even blitzing, they've still got these guys getting sacks like 25 to 35% of the time that they get pressure. So, like, yeah, it's a lot of threats on that defense.
I think it goes back to kind of what we were saying about Mike Zimmer and knowing your personnel. Todd Bowles knows his personnel very well, and what they can do. And what I noticed with the Chargers, against the Chargers, that Tampa Bay did, is that they couldn't obviously match them with size. So they had to overcompensate, and that's why they kind of loaded the line of scrimmage a lot more defensively. But do y'all feel like the tackles, our offensive tackles, obviously Terrence Steele, Tyler Guyton, do you feel like there is a little bit of an advantage that they have against their edge rushers, or no?
I wouldn't call it an advantage.
Okay.
I would say from what I've seen of each of them at their best, they can compete, but I wouldn't call it an advantage necessarily. Just because we've also seen them make mistakes. Like, I'll put it this way. I haven't seen enough from them in terms of them performing at their best to call it an advantage.
That's fair.
Now, if they're able to pull off 4 quarters at their best, then, yeah, it's going to be a really good game. But, yeah, I'm not comfortable calling it an advantage. What do you think?
No, I agree. And the other thing is with Guyton, you know, not taking a lot of snaps recently, to be honest. He did have to step in for Adogo last week with Adogo's ankle injury, so he played a little over 3/4 of the game. But, you know, the one thing with Adogo being in a rehab group at least part of the week is that Guyton's getting all the snaps, or the vast majority of the snaps in practice. And I think that's going to really benefit him this week, instead of sharing the left tackle snaps, most of them going to Adogo the previous 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Guyton definitely has the lesser of the task, I would say, dealing with Shoyinka. He's not generating pressure as frequently, and I do think that Guyton should be able to manage that matchup better. But Terrence Steele and Yaya gonna be fighting. Yaya's crazy. Like, I'm serious. Like, I remember watching his college tape, and you just see him, just the way he. First of all, the stance is crazy. I don't know if he's changed it. I looked at it a little bit the other day, but it looks a little different. He looked like a panther or something. The way he would. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he trying to emulate what?
Maybe, but it's effective and it works for him. So yeah, I don't think that the Cowboys have the advantage. I will say that Tyler Guyton is drawing a little bit of a not as bad matchup as what he has had to deal with this last few weeks. So
Since Jess isn't here, I'm going to bring the song lyric pun to the table. Beyonce has a song called Yaya where she says, if you don't got no grits, get the up out the South. So the Cowboys are going to have to bring the grit this Sunday to compete with this Bucs defense.
I see what you did
she's
there.
taking over.
I see what you did there.
She's not even here.
I'm not a Swiftie though,
She's
but,
not even here.
but Beehive.
She's
here.
gotten you.
Come on, H-Town. All right, we're going to take our first break, and we are going to come back with more offense talk. Cooper Rush and Rico Dowdle. We'll be back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk after the break.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The most electrifying event of the holiday season is here. Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza, powered by Reliant, is back at the Star in Frisco. Join us this Friday and Saturday night for a spectacular holiday show with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Rhythm and Blue, Rowdy, Santa Claus, and surprise tree lighting appearances from your favorite Cowboys heroes. Best of all, the show is free. For details, visit thestardistrict.com. Don't miss out on the holiday magic. This is the final weekend, December 20th and 21st. So see you this weekend.
Guess who's looking to make some holiday magic?
The Cowboys?
Yes!
Yay! There you go.
Jazzy.
Thank you, Jazzy.
Thank you, Jazzy. Y'all know who I'm feeling this week?
Who?
The Rush.
Are you really?
Wow, back to back. All right, Cooper Rush's first 2 starts were losses and finished with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Since week 12, he's won 3 of 4, 8 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, and Dallas went from averaging 8 points per game to 27. What is funny?
See, I know my homie from London is going to be watching this show, and I'm going to have to explain this.
27 points per game. So, what do you need to see from Cooper Rush on Sunday, my ladies?
I need to see confidence, honestly, because I feel like that's one of the things that helped out the Chargers when they were successful against the Bucs, I should say. But So I mentioned earlier that Vita Vea will do the thing where he'll go out as far as 3 tech and then still run towards the quarterback. But I think what helped Herbert sometimes was the fact that he seemed to know that, okay, if that happens, the plan is to get the ball out quickly to whichever side opposite from what Vea is on. And that helped him on those particular snaps. And so whatever the plan is to mitigate what this D-line plans to do, Cooper Rush is going to have to make decisions quickly. He's going to have to be confident in those decisions. There's not going to be a lot. And I know it's not entirely up to him. I know some of it's going to depend on protection. Yeah. But if I had to narrow it down to one thing, it would just be I need him to be confident and have command of this offense and make the right decisions quickly.
Yeah, and communicating, once you make those identifications, because that's going to be so crucial because we spent a whole segment talking about all the exotic things that Todd Bowles tries to bring. So it's one thing to identify it, but then to get it communicated, because you're working with receivers like the Jalen Brooks and even Jalen Tolbert, a younger guy in his career. You just got to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and also with the pass protection as well. And you might, if you're having to leave a couple of guys in to help with the pass protection, if you're having to tight ends stay in and help a little bit off the edge, to Aisha's point about Terrence Steele having a challenge this weekend, then that takes someone out of the pass route, or at least delayed. So getting into the route. And same thing with Rico Dowdle, whoever is at running back, if it's scat protection and they help and then release. So I think that at times this year, Cooper Rush has rushed his throws a little bit too much. And I think he's going to be rushing throws a lot on Sunday night against this Bucs defense. But I don't know. I just see the communication as being such a key, because when the defense does some risky, tricky things, it's risky and tricky on their part as well. It opens up opportunities. You got to take advantage Blitz is a high risk. Sending people is a high risk thing. So if you can identify that as an offense and everyone's on the same page, you can really take advantage.
Yeah, heck yeah, Christy. Make them pay. Every single time.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I need him to not wait till the second half to get it together.
You have to get that off your chest, huh?
I did.
I feel like she was thinking. Yeah, she was thinking about that one.
She felt that.
She felt that one.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Bucs, this is a team that doesn't give up a lot of yards after catch. I mean, and they defend the first and second level of the defense very well. It's that third level. It's that third level where they'll give up big plays. We have not seen Cooper Rush push the ball downfield as much. He has done it situationally. To Christy's point, that's what I'm looking for from him. You mentioned that you want him to have command. I want him to be decisive. And I also, too, if he is going to decide to take these shots, they have to make decisions when you do that type of stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying you want him to connect on them. Don't just be wasting downs. So don't get too willy-nilly here. However, show them you ain't scared. You gonna bring all these people, we gonna make you pay with Kevontae Turpin down the field. I'm hoping that the Cowboys match their energy.
Yeah.
Because this is an offense that is looking to, if you make a mistake, they trying to make you look crazy for it. So if they make a mistake, make them look crazy for it. But this is a good tackling team. So you're going to have to do things to force them out of their gaps and stuff like that. The Cowboys have been better with motion as of late, trying to get some of the – there's an aggressive defense. Use it against them. You mentioned, last week that who was it? Oh, Herbert would recognize, like, okay, if Vita Vea's right here, I got to get the ball out quick. Yeah. Recognize that type of stuff and be able to take advantage of those opportunities. Also, too, Cooper Rush, be savvy. Catch him in substitutions. They want to do all this flip-flopping and fancy stuff. Catch him slipping. 12 men on the field, things like that. You need to be nifty against a defense like this. So, this is an interesting matchup, y'all. Yeah, nifty. Like
they give up a lot more passing yards than they do running yards, obviously. 247 they've allowed per game. That's in the air. And then 109.2 rushing yards per game. But I think it kind of goes also back to what Brock Hoffman had said a couple of weeks ago when I talked to him, is that what's helped this run game is that even when they don't get those big yards, big plays, they kept going. They kept at it. And that's something that I feel like that they still have to do, kind of going back to what Christy had mentioned, is don't go away from the run. Even if it's 3 to 4 yards a pop, just keep going at it. Hit them over the top maybe if you see some vulnerability on the back end. Do y'all feel like there's any vulnerability on the back end of the secondary?
Yeah, the 3 safeties. Well, and Winfield hasn't practiced this week, to my knowledge. He had missed last week's game with a knee injury. Whitehead has missed time. Oh my gosh! I mean, they're really hurting Edwards. So 3 of their safeties. They have given up big plays off of those blitzes. So if you can pick up the rush enough, and I like your idea about Turpin, but can we have Brandon Cooks run more than a stop route?
That would be nice. Oh,
That'd be great.
The reason why, the only reason why I didn't mention it because I'm about to give up on asking for him to run routes that are actually conducive
Somebody
to
on
what his
Twitter
skill set
called him a
is.
hitch route god, and it made me sick
You
to
don't
see
want
that.
it, just naturally. You wouldn't want a gentleman that's coming off of a knee, anything, doing stop stuff. Let him be free. Like let him do it.
Also, we've seen him do so well going down the field.
With other teams. Baby, he got here and it was like Space Jam.
Stop.
Somebody took his powers.
The note.
I don't get it.
The door? It's right there.
I don't understand.
Use it.
It's insulting to his skill set, I think. So Christy's right. I'm just.
Well, then who do you feel like needs to step up, and who will really have the opportunity to do so? Because when you take away or add extra protection, obviously with tight ends, Jake Ferguson, maybe Brevin Spanfor, Lou Schoonmaker, you're obviously taking away some receiving opportunities or pass catchers. Who needs to step up as a receiver, because that puts a lot more pressure on those guys?
I wish Cooper Rush and CeeDee Lamb had better chemistry, because CeeDee Lamb literally has the worst average yards per catch of his entire career right now. And even last season, or not last season, but the last time that Cooper Rush was at the helm starting in place of Dak Prescott while he was injured, CeeDee Lamb kind of disappeared from the offense. And so I'm not saying that CD necessarily needs to step up. I just need that connection, the chemistry, the communication, whatever it is between the two of them to where they just cannot seem to just make connections. I would love to see that fixed, because that's one of the best players, one of the best weapons on your offense that's basically been eliminated, not by the defense, but because for whatever reason your backup quarterback just can't seem to get the ball to him the way your starting quarterback could. And it's wild to me.
Fun fact for CeeDee Lamb, 1 catch, and he's going to move past Drew Pearson. Is that amazing?
Ooh,
For fourth place, and it's only his 5th year. And for longtime Cowboys fans, Drew Pearson, Hall of Famer. I mean, Drew is in his own stratosphere. He's 4th all time. He's tied with CD right now for 4th most catches in Cowboys history, behind Witten, Irvin, and Des Bryant. And so next catch, CeeDee Lamb's going to move into 4th place all by himself, and Drew's going to drop down to 5th.
Well, hopefully he can surpass it with the connection.
In the first series.
Yes.
Let's not wait till like the
Speaking
third quarter.
Yeah. I'm crying. What you got?
Can you say the question again?
Stepping up
and the receiver as a receiver.
Oh, well, this is another team that just love playing single high, so I'm just begging and pleading. But my gentlemen that I want to step up are I'm going to say Rico Dowdle and Hunter Lipke. I think that
as receiving targets?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
No, keep going.
My bad.
I mean that because you're talking about the Jake Ferguson and him possibly having to help out with blocking. If Hunter Lipke and those guys are in there just to chip, or they're in there just to, push somebody around and get into the flats, this is a defense, again, that is aggressive. Throw behind them, run screens, do things like that. I'm looking for them to try to throw behind this front 7 and kind of make them have them come up and tackle, but use their aggressiveness against them. Make them force them back angles, make them struggle to make tackles. I think that Hunter Lipke and using your running backs, how people be using theirs. Shoot. People do it to you every week.
I mean, that's how the Bucs use their running backs, literally.
That's literally how they use their running
we
backs.
We have started to see that a little bit from Rico Dowdle. And so I agree. I do think it would be good for them to use him that way more.
That's another element you can add. And Rico Dowdle has shown some receiving qualities. Hunter Lipke has some. Do that, please, because it's going to mediate Jake Ferguson having to block and do some of the stuff that you're talking about doing. You can't have 3-man routes all day.
Yeah, and on the Tuesday podcast, we had said that Mike McCarthy had said or maybe it was whatever, earlier in the week on the podcast, we were talking about Mike McCarthy saying that Rico Dowdle, the next step in his career would be as a third down back. And I said I'd try and suss out, does that mean these last 3 weeks that he's going to be specifically used that way more? Is that more of an off-season project kind of thing, or go through a full training camp and kind of work that in? And so just a little bit of investigation. And Rico, like to your point, he has been used that way before, but Lipke has gotten a lot of that. And so that's why Rico, it's not that he can't do it, it's just that they're trying to incorporate Lipke as well. And so, Dowdle, it's less him being able to do it. It's more about opportunities because they're trying to work other people in.
Well, I think, could this be the game to try that? Just because I feel like it would keep that defense on their toes. You've seen in the past couple of weeks, third downs, they're typically going to CeeDee Lamb. Why not trip them up?
They've been setting up some plays for it.
Yeah.
If you're watching, like they're showing you, like there's opportunities where Hunter Lipke can be a receiver. He just catching a body. He just out there knocking somebody out the play. But if Cooper Rush, you talked about Christy, Cooper Rush sometimes is not going through his reads. He sometimes has clean pockets, and he's just trying to get the ball out. Yeah. If he would, be a little bit more patient, some of this stuff would open up. So maybe we will see that. Well, let's just hope maybe we'll see that this week.
Could we see another 100-plus rushing yard game from Rico Dowdle?
I don't think so.
Could.
Sister.
I think we could.
Okay, no, just give your opinion.
I think we could. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. I would temper my expectations when it comes to that, but I think it's possible.
It might be that much all-purpose for me. I think I do think you have to use him in a receiving aspect with how this defense is played. And both him and Lipke gonna have to wear their big man draws. Yeah, they gonna have to come. Pass protection is just gonna have to be on point.
And limiting the yards after contact, as you've been saying, Aisha, and so many of Rico's rushing yards in this 3-game stint where he's gone over 100 yards. It's been a lot of yards after contact and falling forward, a 3-yard run becoming a 5 or a 6-yard run thanks to his effort and being able to break some tackles. But that's going to be more difficult against this unit.
That would be a statement. That would be a statement. If he can, if he does have just 100 yards on the ground against these people. Okay. Yes.
I don't see it being a game like some of his past games where it's like, at halftime he's got 7.6 yards per carry.
No.
I don't see it being that. The reason why I say I think he could is because even if he doesn't break as many tackles or make as many guys miss, if he does it even half as often, he could in theory still hit 100 yards. It would just be like down to the wire, as opposed to it's early in the fourth quarter and he's at 120 or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was, but you get what I'm saying. Like it felt easy the past couple weeks. It's definitely not going to be easy if it does happen this week. And then you factor in the fact that because of the need for pass protection, they might put Zeke in there because Zeke is still very useful in pass pro. He's done very well at that. So we might just see some shakeups in who they have on the field personnel-wise just because of the need. There's a lot of different things that might go into the opportunities that he gets and how well he performs, especially considering that, like we were talking about the Bucs stacking the box. They tend to do that on rundowns when it's a short distance. So that might take away some opportunities right there. So I'm not saying, he'll definitely do it. I'm like, I can imagine a scenario in which he could. I'm not saying it's likely, but I'm not going to rule it out like, there's no way. I think he could, and I do agree that it would say a heck of a lot about Rico Dowdle if he is able to pull that off.
We all know Rico, so knowing him, he's shooting for that 100 rushing yards.
He probably is.
That's in his head.
How close is he to 1,000?
Is it 852? So what's that?
I think he needs. What does he have?
880.
Yes, 880. So
it's something like
120. I'll double check.
My math's bad.
Because before the last game, he needed 68 yards per game, and he got over 100. So
he has 880. So he needs 120.
I wasn't.
It's probably right here somewhere.
My math's real bad.
Yeah, right there.
All right, we're gonna take our second break. You're watching Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. We'll be right back.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
The Dallas Cowboys gift guide is here, and it's got everything you're looking for this holiday season. Grab winning gifts at a pro shop near you or log on to shop.dallascowboys.com, a Fanatics experience. And hurry up with that, will you? I mean, next Wednesday is Christmas, so less than a week to go.
Absolutely. All right, we are doing this segment since we don't have a show tomorrow, we're going to do this every Friday as well, as along with our Who's Gonna Make You Smile segment. So, y'all know the viral TikTok video is like, we listen and we don't judge, right? Great. So, we're going to listen and not judge our bold statements. Get it? Mm-hmm. All right, great. Who wants to go first?
I'll go since y'all being quiet.
Okay.
This is partially an emotional take because somebody this morning said that Micah Parsons is the only weapon that the Cowboys defense have. So I predict Oso Digizua is gonna light their ass up.
Oh, boy.
Two plus sacks. Okay. He's been doing well, and I know this is a different team, but I predict that he continues on that trend of making a statement.
Okay.
So.
All right.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yes. Okay.
I think the Cowboys are going to get some takeaways in this game.
Sister.
At least two, just because I think Baker Mayfield with his, some would say cockiness, others would say confidence. I go with confidence. But I think he's going to try and force some passes into some tight spots. And Deron Bland, we know he's missed most of the season, and since he's come back, he's been pretty quiet over there. And I think Deron's going to get at least one pick on Sunday night.
We listen and we don't judge.
This is my first time doing it. I didn't know we had to say it together.
We listen and we don't judge.
You don't judge?
Not everybody said it. I think y'all should.
I don't think everybody said it either. We're gonna try it
I'm
again.
supposed to say, even though I was the one
Yes.
that's
Everybody. Thank you, Jazz. 1, 2, 3. We listen and we don't judge.
This feels like it.
So much better.
That was beautiful. It was
Oh, my God. I don't think they're going to win this game. All right, let's go.
We
We listen and we don't judge. We didn't hear everybody.
Doesn't mean we don't like it, but
There we go. 1, 2, 3. We listen and we don't judge.
it's going to be a hard one. This is a tough game.
I got to say it again?
No,
No, it's my turn.
Oh, I tried to get it over with fast.
No.
I don't like having to say it.
You think it's mainly the offensive numbers that Tampa's putting up recently, or
It's
just the
it's
things
just
that they
the
do
Cowboys,
defensively?
It's just the Cowboys' offense. I just think I want them to be able to take it to these people.
Basically,
So-
everything they would have to do to be productive as an offense is counter to the identity that they've shown us the past few weeks.
And that's a lot of it. I do think like it's just their trench work.
So I'm not going to say whether or not I agree. I'm just putting that out
It's
there
just their
as
trench work.
a supporting statement.
Like this defense the Cowboys defense is very contingent. Although they have stopped the run better, it's very contingent on them getting pressure. And this offensive line ain't going like that. Like this is a very cohesive offensive line. And he's going to sit back there. He's going to tap dance and river dance back there and do everything he's going to do with his feet.
We need Brock Hoffman's mom to give everybody a pep talk.
So guys got to finish. So I'm just that's what I'm worried about more than anything. Is him improvising and just your strength is their strength. So we'll see how it goes. That's it. That's all I got.
Nicole, what's yours?
Cowboys defense has had in the last 7 games, they've had 14 sacks, right? That math is right.
Sounds
They had
right.
6 last week. I'm gonna
So,
go.
yeah.
We listen. We don't. We're not
Actually,
gonna
more,
listen.
more than that, yeah.
I'm gonna go. The Cowboys are gonna sack Baker Mayfield
Huh.
7 times.
Oh,
We
listen and we don't judge.
We listen, and we not gonna
We
judge.
not gonna judge.
We listen and we wonder what Nicole has been drinking today.
She probably had that caffeine drink she's been drinking the last couple
I
days.
know that fast twitch Gatorade does wonders, guys.
Well, let's give it
Hard
to
on
our
a million.
pass rushers
Hey,
for Sunday night, and maybe they'll get you
we
7
said we
cents.
listen and we don't judge.
We not
I'm
not
not
judging.
judging at all. That would be so
No.
exciting.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna say this pass rush is gonna get after
Manifest it.
Period.
Speak it into
I-
existence.
Point blank.
I love your optimism about
I
this.
feel very confident.
I know. I think I do have a feeling they're gonna come up. They're gonna go play.
The
Like,
defense
they-
for sure.
defense-
They gonna
for
go.
sure.
They gonna go play. I think they are gonna wake up for the game. But
I need score predictions. Y'all aren't getting away with that fast. You was trying to talk your way out of this one. You're not slick.
It's
Go ahead.
446.
That's fine. Go ahead. Go for it.
28-20 Cowboys.
Okay. Christy?
30-23 Tampa.
I'm gonna flip yours, and I'm gonna go Tampa. 20-28. What's the spread? What's the spread?
I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm gonna go.
Oh, my fan. The goal.
28-21 Tampa.
Okay, so we've got 3-1. So it's in the bag for the Cowboys. Because
No, 2-2.
no, it's 3-1.
3-1.
No, 3-1.
Oh, sorry, I
3-1.
wasn't listening carefully.
3-1.
Sorry.
All
So
right,
now they're
ladies.
going to be mad.
Yeah.
Good.
It's gonna give us
take
some
it
extra
out on
fuel.
Take it out on Tampa.
I love it.
The spread is only 4 points.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
Yeah.
anything's
That's some
possible.
That's some respect.
I mean,
for the Cowboys,
the Bucs
low-key.
are on a winning streak right now, but they coming on like they were on a losing streak before that, and so it's like when you look at the caliber teams that they've been winning against versus who they lost against, there's flaws in this team.
Yeah.
They're doing well now, but it's not like they're invincible. Even as great as their defense is, even their defense is not invincible. Watch the film.
It was a good win against the Chargers, but the
That was a
previous
good
3,
win.
to Jazz's point, were against the Giants, the Raiders, and the Panthers.
Absolutely.
So they're racking up some good defensive numbers off of those games.
And he was still getting picked off against the Raiders and the Panthers.
And it's
So-
two teams that. So you got 2 teams that not necessarily have something to prove, but people both looking at some of the things you've done as of late of like, is this a fluke? Is it not?
Discrediting your resume.
Discrediting what they've done in the last few weeks. So
And the Falcons' win last week keeps the pressure on Tampa. That's just a 1-game lead in the South, and that's not a super tough division this year. But we've already mentioned that Tampa's won 3 in a row, and they're going for their 4th. So hey, it doesn't matter as long as you win your division, you are secured a home game in the first round of the playoffs.
they told Kirk Cousins to sit down somewhere. Yeah, Michael Penny's about to start flinging that thing around.
Stop
Excited.
it. Well, we gonna sit down somewhere and get off this show.
Show
'cause it
is.
has been great, and it is time to go. All right, Brian Morrison, Christy Scales, Jasmine A. I'm Nicole Hutchison, and we'll be back here next week.
Yeah, man. This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!